Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to create a very simple but functional MP3 player in Java and obviously Netbeans. So our MP3 player is going to be turned into a widget. Now I've already added code to make it into a widget, but I haven't added code to actually, make it functional and stuff. So I've provided a project resource pack. If you go on my website, teknikindustries.com/downloads, I'll leave a link in the description. You can just browse through some of the tutorial resources and you can view the tutorials directly from here if you wanted to. But you want to download the MP3 player resource pack. Now, I've added widgets in brackets because I've personally added it into a widget, and that's how I've provided it in the resource pack. Now, it isn't necessarily a widget tutorial because we've already done a widget tutorial, but I've already added the code directly from the widget tutorial into this MP3 player tutorial. So when you download this pack, you get two files. You get one which is a Netbeans project file, which is a starting Netbeans project file, I should say, because it's the same position where I start from this video, which means you don't have any code, you don't have any of that sort of things just yet. You obviously manually have to type it in. Then we obviously have the editable Photoshop file, which you can edit the graphics and stuff and then import them into Netbeans, and then you guys can lay it out however you want, and so obviously it also says coming today because I haven't uploaded the tutorial yet, but by the time you're watching this it'll be changed to the tutorial. So yeah, so you want to head over to Netbeans, and you want to import the MP3 player widget. Now obviously you don't have to use the MP3 player widget resource pack if you don't want to, but I suggest using it because there's also a library in here and I've already set up the library for you. So I just suggest downloading the MP3 player widget pack, and then you guys can modify this however you want. However, I have also provided the library you need to play MP3s in the resource pack along with this file and the editable Photoshop file. So what you guys can see is that we have a app package, we have a background, which is the graphic that I made in Photoshop. We have the MP3 player GUI, which is this form right here, and I've added labels for everything, as you guys can see. Then we have the main class, and this is a class that I've created. It just says app package, and then public class, main class. You guys don't have any of the imports. I've added it in because it just saves a little bit more time. Also, I might have forgotten to add in the text field for this one, so you just want to create one that spans across the bright yellow field and then name it display or any label name that you prefer. Okay, so let's get into the coding part of things. You want to firstly import the library, which I've already done if you're using the project resource pack. So you want to right click properties, libraries, and you just want to add it in. So if you import the MP3 player widget resource pack into your Netbeans, you might get an error, and the error will be on the project itself. That's because you may not have the same Java platform I'm using. So you simply want to navigate to libraries and then change the JDK to whatever you have on your system. So that's how you quickly sort out the error. It's not a big deal, and you can add a jar/folder which is in the lib folder of this project, which as you guys can see in the MP3 player folder. So we're going to head over to the main class, and in the main class the first thing we want to do is we want to create a file input stream and a buffered input stream. So we're simply going to type in file input, I'm thinking ahead of myself here, file input stream, give a random variable name FIS, and you want to create another one called buffered input stream called BIS. And then obviously you have to add the imports for them. As you guys can see, it's being used right now. Then in the Java Zoom Java layer class that the library that we imported, there's a player called player. So you simply want to create a new variable called public player and then give a random variable name such as player. So public player, that's part of the library from the javazoom.jl library, or the class I should say. Okay, so we have that. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create let's create a stop method. So we're going to type in public void stop. Now this will stop the song from playing when you click on the stop button. So in here, the first thing we need to do is we need to check if a song is actually playing. So in order to do that, we're going to create a simple if statement, and in the if statement we're going to say if player does not equal null. So that means if basically this little exclamation point means not. So this is saying player does not equal to nothing. So if player has something in it, that means it's playing a song. And if it is playing a song, then you can close the player. So you're going to type in player dot close, and this will stop the music from playing and end everything nicely. So this is the method for the stop button. So you want to head over to your MP3 player GUI, and you want to click on the stop button, right click, events, mouse released, and in here you just want to type in some code to stop the player from playing, or to stop the music from playing. So before we can do that, we have to create an object of the main class. So head over to the top, and I've already done this on my one to save time. And just below the public class MP3 player GUI, you want to type in main class MC is equal to new main class. So we type this method all the time, not the method, but we type this piece of code all the time. And basically what it's doing, it's creating an object of the main class, and then we can start accessing the methods in here, all the methods that are specified as public, such as the stop method. So then we're just going to scroll down to the stop mouse release, and we're going to type in MC, which is the variable name for the main class object, .stop. And this will stop the music from playing if something is in it. So if we run this and we click on the stop button, nothing will happen. Firstly, because there's nothing playing, so it's completely ignoring that if statement. Also, what you'll notice is that I made it open at the bottom of the screen and a little bit higher than your taskbar. If you have a bigger, smaller screen, it may be a little bit different. But if you follow our widget tutorial, you guys will learn how to basically modify this and move it around, and how to create all the aspects of a widget and how to position it where you want it to start up. So that's not a big deal. I'll provide the link in the description to the widget resource, not the widget resource, but the widget tutorial, and also the JFrame dragging method, so how you can drag this around and stuff. We have to close it through Netbeans because I didn't add a stop button. You guys can go ahead and do that if you want, but it will be turned into a complete widget, so you don't really want, you don't really have a stop button on a widget, but or a close button on a widget, but you guys can do that if you want. So now that we have that, we can create the play method. So we're going to type in public void play. We're going to put something in the parameters section, okay? And in the parameters section, we're going to put in a string, and this string is going to be the path to the music. So we're going to type in string path. So the path is basically when you navigate to music on your computer. So if you go into the music folder and select a song, you guys can see, in order to get the path of bob strange clouds, this is the path right here, f/music bob strange clouds. And then you'll simply put another slash, and then you can choose a song that you want to play, like circles.mp3, and that'll play the circles.mp3 song, which you guys can hear now. Okay, so that's why we need the path. Okay, so now we're going to type in FIS. We're going to make the file input stream equal to a new file input stream. You know what? Because of this microphone and the way of the keyboard, it's a bit difficult to type. So in this brackets, you want to type in path. That'll get the path to the song that you want to play. So we need to surround the statement try and catch. I didn't want to type try and catch because it's quicker just to let Netbeans do it. So now that we have the FIS, we need to do BIS is equal to new buffered input stream. And then in the bracket for buffered input stream, you're going to put in FIS. There we go. Okay, then lastly, we're just going to type in player is equal to new player. And then in the brackets, you're going to type in BIS. And then you'll most likely get an error, so you have to add a catch clause for that one also. So I'm just going to do that here. Obviously, let Netbeans do it because it's faster to let Netbeans handle that. So we can also replace it with the multi-catch instead of having two separate catches. So that's a little bit better. Now the next thing to do is to actually play the song that we want to play. So in order to do that, what we have to do is we have to create a new thread. And the reason why we're creating a new thread is because we want the music to basically play in the background, so that you guys can still click on buttons like stop, pause, resume. You can still drag it around. You can still access everything in the main thread, but have the music playing in a separate thread. So we're going to create a new thread. So new thread, open close brackets, and it looks sort of like a method. Then at the end of the second curly bracket, you're going to type in .start, semicolon. Now thread will only start once you have a method called run. So we're going to type in public void run, open close brackets, and you know what, I don't know why the 0 keeps getting typed in, but there you go. And you can add the @override method. So now we're simply going to type in player.play, and that'll play the song. Once again, try and catch, but I'm too lazy to type that out, so I'm going to let Netbeans do it for me. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our MP3 player GUI, and in the play button, mouse released, basically click on the play events, mouse released. We're going to type in mc.play. Oops. And we need to specify a string with the path to the song. So what we have to do is we're just going to open up a folder. We're just going to hard code it in for now. Let's go for bob strange clouds circles. Circles is fine. So let's copy the file path, paste it into there, and then add a double backslash, and then the name of the song. So circles.mp3. Okay, now keep in mind that if you try only putting one slash, it'll give you an error because it's reading it as an escape character. So we escaping an escape character, which is why we have two slashes. Now let's run our program. Let me get my headphones on. Okay, now let's run this. And let's play by clicking the play button. And you guys can hear the song is being played. I'll try to keep speaking over it so that the video doesn't get flagged for copyrighted content and stuff. But I'm going to also put it a little bit softer as well. So we got the play button. Now when we click on the stop, it detects that something is being played and then it stops the music. So if we click on play again, it'll start the song from scratch, and then stop will stop the song. So there you go. You guys have a simple MP3 player. The next thing to do is the pause and resume. So we're going to do that now. Now the pause is very simple to do. The pause is essentially, I'm just going to explain a little bit of theory for the pause. So with the pause, what's going to happen is we're going to stop the player, but we're going to save the location of where we stopped. And then we're going to, when we resume, we're going to essentially copy the play method, but start the song where we stopped off last time. So let's copy the public void stop method, okay? And just simply rename it to pause. Oops. Okay, so we got the player.close. Now before we close the player, we're going to type in fis.available. And what this function does is it basically checks how much of the song is left available to play. Surround statement with try and catch. There we go. So it basically, if you have a 10-second song and you type in fis.available and you've watched or you've listened to 5 minutes, it'll basically return back 5 minutes. Not really 5 minutes, but it'll return back a long. Long is like a double, but longer. So it'll be something like 10,000 or 100,000 or some value that's really high. So you can't use it for seconds or anything. So we got fis.available, which is great, but we need to store it somewhere. So let's create a public long, and then let's type in pause location. Okay. So currently pause location is equal to nothing. Then when we click on pause, it's going to assign fis.available, however much of the song is left available, to the pause location. So if 5,000 milliseconds or whatever that value means is available, it'll store 5,000 in the pause location variable. And then when we start up our song again, it'll basically start up where we left off. So now that we've got the pause done, let's just add our code in for the pause. So right click, events, mouse released. And then we're just going to simply type in mc.pause. Now let's run our program. And when we click on play, the song should start playing. I don't have my headphones on, so I'm not too sure if it is, but it should be playing. Then when we click on pause, it'll stop the song basically. And you guys can hear that the song has been stopped. Now the value of where we stopped is actually stored. So when we click on play, it'll start the song where we left off, but obviously the play is restarting the song here. Okay, so now let's create the resume method. And the resume is very similar to the play. There's a few differences. The first thing is, let's just copy this, whoops, my bad. Let's just copy the play method and then rename it to resume. So we have void pause, and we have, oops, we have void, where is it? Public void resume. Okay, now we're going to remove string path because we aren't going to be playing, we're going to save the path somewhere, and then we're just going to replace this path in the file input stream with the path that we saved. Okay, so let's head over to the play method. Right now, in the play method, the first thing we need to do is we need to create a new variable that will store fis.available, the initial length of the song. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to type in fis.available and then assign it to a variable. So fis.available, dang it, come on, available. And then we're going to create a, so we're just going to add a catch clause for that one as well. And then right at the top, we're going to create a new public long variable. So this one's going to be called, let's say, song total length. Okay. And then we're going to simply go back into our play and we're going to type in song total length is equal to fis.available. So that gets the full length of the song. So currently what we have right now is the full length of the song and then how much of the song is remaining. So all we have to do is we have to say the full length of the song minus how much is remaining, and that'll give us the location where we stopped. So in here, the first thing before we can actually start playing the music is, resuming the music I should say, is we need to replace this part. Now the part that is going to be the same song that we were currently playing, and we don't want to access the same part again. So what we're going to do is we're going to save the part from over here when we click on play string part, and it's going to save it into a variable, and then we're going to access the other variable over here. So let's create a new variable called public string, and then give it a random variable name, something like file location or whatever. Okay, so in this this void play, after, let's say, after song total length equals fis.available, you want to type in file location is equal to path plus an empty string. So it doesn't really do much. It just basically says the file location is equal to the path. And then we're going to replace this with file location, and that fixes all our errors. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say, after this player, we're going to say fis.skip, and then you can skip however much of the song that you want to skip. So we're going to replace this with the full length of the song, so song total length minus, you most likely have to add another catch clause for this as well, minus the pause location, and that'll give us the current location. So add catch clause once again, and I'm just going to remove these errors, the catches I should say. Okay, so that should pause and resume our song. So let's create a little label over here, and this will just be the temporary pause label, I guess, or the resume label I should say. Okay, so when we click on pause, we have the code for that. Now we just got to do the resume. So we're going to go to mouse released, and then we're going to type in mc.resume. So everything is simple, like, 10 letters or 10 characters. It's really simple once you have this main class set up. So let's compile build, and let me get my headphones on again. Now let's click on the play button. Okay, the song starts playing, and just hang on a second. As soon as it starts talking, let's pause it. Okay, so I just finished saying let's go. Now when we click on resume, it should resume from where we stopped off last time. And you guys can hear it's getting paused and then resumed. Now that's not from editing or anything, that's actual that's the actual program running. So yeah. Oh, and then actually let's click on the stop button. Whoops. There we go, and that'll stop. And then when you click on play, it'll restart the song. Now what you guys will notice, when you click on stop and you click on resume, it'll basically resume where you left off, which obviously is not what you want. So in order to fix that, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our main class, and when we click on stop, after player.close, we're going to set the pause location and then the song total length to be 0. Okay, so that means it's equal to nothing. It basically reverts back to how it was when we first started up the program. So let's click on the play, let's click on pause, resume, stop, and when you click on resume, the song should restart from the beginning, and it does. So that's exactly what I want. It may not be what you want, so I'm going to replace the play button with the resume code instead. So we're going to go to events, mouse released, and instead of saying mc.play, we're going to go with mc.resume. Because we're going to have this selector over here, which will open up a file chooser, and you can select your song from there. Okay, so as soon as you select your song, it'll start playing it, which means there's no need for the play button unless you want to resume your song. So we're going to remove that bit of code, and then we're also going to delete this label. So now a play button has become the resume button, and we also have a pause button and then a stop button. So those 3 buttons work just fine. The next thing to do is to have our JFile chooser pop up with a specific location. Now I've already done this in a separate tutorial. Now these app development tutorials require you to have knowledge from previous tutorials. That's why I made this, so you guys can actually test out what you learn in some real world application. So what you guys have to do is go follow the JFile chooser tutorial. I'll leave a link on screen for about 10 seconds, and then you guys can go and watch it. I'll also leave the link in the description. It's crucial that you watch it. You can either watch it or just copy what I type. Pause the video and then copy what I type. But it's up to you. I suggest watching that video first. So I'm going to be back in a second as soon as I type out the code. Okay guys, I'm finished type out the code. So what I've done here is I've created a file filter. Now the file filter is so that you can filter out between all files and MP3 files. And you can see I have two parameters, which is the MP3 and the MPEG-3 format. And then we have the J file chooser being created on this line of code. And you can see I create a, well, I don't create, but it opens up at this location, this F music, which is my music folder on my PC, which is what's accessed over here. So we have that. Then we also apply the filter so that we can actually get MP3 files and MP3s and stuff. Then we have the return value, which opens up the dialog. And if you click on the approve option, which is the open option, it'll firstly get the selected file. So it'll get the entire path, the path that we got from what we typed in earlier, where we went to music, Eminem, and then we copied this. It'll get that entire path, and then it'll convert it into a string. It saves it as a file, then converts it into a string. Okay, so I just had to delete a bit of code there because I went ahead of myself. But what's happening here is that it's saying, it's getting the file, storing it in my file, then converting that file, the file name I should say, into a string. And then we simply say mc.play and then the song. So this is basically what we had last time, but it's more complicated, where in the terms that you don't actually have to manually type in the the path. The path is fetched automatically by the J file chooser. So if we click on play, we can actually play any song on our PC. So let's click on this get select file item. Okay, and then we can go ahead and play some Eminem, Marshall Mathers LP2, and then play Rap God. Everyone knows that song, and you can see that song will start playing. Now we can pause, and it pauses the song. And if you click on play, which is essentially the new resume button, it'll resume the song. So when you click on stop, it'll stop playing the song, and when you click on play, it'll basically restart the song from scratch again. Now you can click on stop, and you can go back and you can change the song. You can play any other song that you want, and it'll work the same. There we go. So the next thing to do is to output the name of the song into this field over here. Now, like I said in the beginning, I think I forgot to include this text field, so just add one in, not a big deal. And yeah, so I named this field called display. I've downloaded some text fonts and stuff, and I've already set it up for myself. So I'm using a font called Liquid Crystal 17 plain. That's the size, and then the text is just plain. It's not bold or anything. I've centralized it and I've changed the text color to white. Okay, so in the source code over here, all we have to do is we have to create a new variable. So we're going to type in string name is equal to chooser dot get selected file, and then dot get name, and this will get the name of the file that you open with the extension with .mp3. Okay, and then we're simply going to say display dot set text, which will set the text of that J label to the name. So this will basically say the name of the song. So if we're playing Eminem Rap God, it'll say rapgod.mp3. Now it's up to you if you want the MP3 there or not. I feel like having the MP3 there because it makes it feel like it's a like a car radio, like a digital car radio. I've even added the 7-segment font style. So I want the mp3 there. If you don't want it, what you guys will have to do is you'll have to remove everything after the dot. So okay, so I'm not gonna go over how to remove the .mp3, but what you guys can do is you can use the split method and then put it into an array and then put that instead of the name. But it's completely up to you. I don't want to do it since this tutorial is already quite long. So let's select a song, cut and run, and you guys can see it says cut and run.mp3. Now obviously the size of this font is a little bit too small for what it should be. So you can see everything is like really squashed off this .mp3. So maybe it would be best to remove the mp3, but it's completely up to you. Just go look up the split method, and it's like 2 lines of code. It's not a big deal, and you guys can remove the .mp3 if you want. Okay, so now that we have that done, let's take a look at what needs to be done next. And the only thing left to do is the loop button. Now what you guys may not have noticed, because I didn't actually show you this, is when we run our program, right? So let's start up a song like cut and run, which is actually, let's not do that because that's going to be the background song. Let's start up a song like this one. Okay, so this song is playing, right? I'm going to open up a new song. I'm going to open up an Eminem encore Just Lose It song. Now listen carefully. Can you hear that? I can. That's because two songs are playing over each other. So what's happening is there are two separate threads, right? There's essentially 3 threads now instead of just 2. So it's playing Just Lose It by Eminem, and then it's playing that other B.O.B. song, and it's playing over each other. So if we click on stop, it'll only stop the Just Lose It song, right? And now you can only hear the B.O.B. song. If you click on stop again, it won't stop it, okay? Because it's in a new thread now. And also this text didn't go away. So let's go into our main class, right? So when you click on the stop button, let's have it remove the text, okay? So so what we have to do is, in our text field, we have to right click, go down to properties, go into the code, and then change it from private. It usually comes looking like that. You want to change it to public static so you can access it from the main class, okay? Now after the player is closed, all you want to do is you want to type in MP3 player GUI, which is this right here, dot display, which is the name of our LCD display on the screen, which shows the song, dot display dot set text, and you want to set it to be null. Okay, so now when we run our MP3 player and we click on stop, you guys can see the text has now disappeared, and it'll, you know, if you start up a new song, it'll come up again, and then you click on stop, it'll go away. You know, you get the idea. And then if you click on pause and play, or pause and resume, it won't do anything with the display. It'll just keep showing the song. Okay, so now there's only 2 things left to sort out. There's the loop button, and then there is the what was the other one? Oh, to stop it from playing over each other. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add code so that the song doesn't play over each other all the time. Okay, so in our MP3 player GUI.java, we're going to go into the source code. And let's go, as soon as you click the approve option, actually just before we start playing the song, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to type in mc.close or .stop. What is it? I think it's stop. mc.stop. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. It might work, it might not, I'm not too sure. So let's play cut and run. Cut and run just works fine. Then let's play nothing to do. Okay, and that actually works. The only problem is that the text disappeared over here, but you guys can see it's doing what it's supposed to do just fine. So I think what the problem is if the stop method, because let's just move the stop method up. Let's see if it works, and then if it does, I'll explain why it works. So let's move it right to the top, and let's try this again. So cut and run, that works fine. Then let's play. Dang it. Okay. I know what happened. I know why that happened. Okay, so the reason why we put it on the top is because you guys can see that we have our display name code over here. It's over here, I mean. Before, when it was below the mc.play song, what happened is it stopped the song previously playing, and what happened is in the stop method, you guys can see it removes whatever's in the text. So it finished display the new song, then it removes it, then it starts playing the song. So we had to move it to the top so that the thing gets removed first, and then everything is put in, and then you can see the new song being played. So that works fine. You can play one song and it won't interrupt the other song that's playing. It'll stop the other one, then start up the new one. So that works well. And the next thing that we need to do, and the last thing, and I'm really sorry for this tutorial being like 45 minutes, but hopefully you guys like it. The last thing to do is to add this loop button. Now before we get to the loop button, there's just something I want to mention. You guys will notice that we don't have next and previous because we don't have a playlist. So if you guys want another tutorial, if I get enough views, likes, comments and stuff, then what will happen is I'll add in a second part where we cover how to make a playlist, so you can have next and previous buttons. Then we'll have a volume adjuster, and we can also have a slider that moves as the song is playing, and then you can adjust the slider to skip the song. So that'll be quite a complete media player or music player, but it's up to you guys if you want that or not. So let's go into our loop button. Now we need code to handle the loop functionality, okay? So I think the way we're going to do this is that this Java layer library has a nice method in there called isComplete. So it checks whether the song is complete or not. So we can use the isComplete method. If it is complete and the loop button is selected, it'll play the same song again. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do to make this happen is we need to create a variable in here which will monitor whether it's a 1 or a 0 for the loop. So we're going to go to events, mouse released. I'm going to create a variable that changes every time you click on it, right? So it's really simple to do this. We're going to Netbeans. We're going to create another variable up here. We're going to call it int. Actually, we're going to call it public static int, and then give it a name like count. Let's just name it count. Okay, now let's go back into our code for the loop mouse release button. Okay, so we're going to create a switch, right? So we're going to say switch count. And we're going to have a case, where case can be 0. If it is equal to 0, it'll do whatever, then break out. Then case can be 1, do whatever, break out of that statement. Whoops. Okay, so switch and case, we use that in our game tutorial. So in the case 0, if it's equal to 0, then we're going to say count is equal to 1. Then it'll break out of that. Then if you click it again and finds that case is equal to 1, it'll say count is equal to 0. Okay, and that should create, you know, back and forth. So when you click on it, oh wait, we didn't print it out. Hang on a second. Okay, so now when you click on it, it'll show 1. Then when you click on it again, it'll show 0. And it'll basically go back and forth like that forever, okay? Now, unfortunately, I didn't provide any images so that you can see when it's looped or not. So maybe we'll just have to add a little thing that says loop, or I don't know. We'll do that at the end after this 10-hour tutorial, my longest tutorial ever. So let's go to our main class, okay? Now in the main class, we're going to play our song, right? Like as if we were normal. Then we're going to say if player.isComplete. So if the song finished play, and MP3 player GUI dot count is equal to 1, equals 1, I should say, then it'll play the most recent song. Okay, then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to type in play, right? Now what's happening here is that we're accessing this play method again, which is this play up here, right? So it's going to play the same song again. So in this, in these two brackets, we're going to choose file location, which is the most recent song, okay? So it's going to play file location, and that should create a loop of your song. So I'm going to quickly download some sort of 5-second sound effect or whatever, and then we'll see how that works. Okay, so I've just finished downloading a song. Not really a song, but it's like a weird thing that I found online. I'm going to place it in my music folder so it's quickly accessed. Then we're going to play the song so you guys can hear what it sounds like firstly. Okay, that also brings up another concern, that once the song is finished play, it needs to clean out that. So that's no problem. Let's play this song again and click on the loop button. And you guys can see it's looping. Hear it one more time. There you go. You guys can see it loops. Turn off loop. And that's it. There's no more looping anymore of that song. So you guys can add a little text thing over there at the bottom to make it loop. Now the last thing to do is say if the player is complete. Okay, so the next one is going to be, let's say else if player is complete. Let's create another if statement saying if player dot is complete, then it'll simply say, you know, where is it? It's over here somewhere. I typed it out already. MP3 player GUI display exit dot set text equals nothing. Okay, so paste that in there. Now let's rerun this code with the same musical branding sound effect. Put the loop on 1. It should loop just fine. One more time. Put the loop off. Now it should clear out the text once it's finished. And it does. Works perfectly. So you guys can go ahead and do whatever you want. So the last thing to do is let's just add a little label, because I feel like adding one. In the corner right here, which will tell you if loop is on or if loop is off, okay? So let's just bring it above all the other layers. Let's change the variable name, so loop counter or whatever. Not really a counter, but close enough. So you guys can change the font. I'm going to type Arial, I think. Because I'm just going to change the color to be this yellowish color, which I did by mistake on the background, but that's the foreground and you can barely see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it white instead, because white is more, you know, you can see it a little bit better. So we're going to remove that. Whoops. And you can resize it. I'm not going to bother with that. Okay. So now in the code that we typed for this this case, whatever, instead of printing out whatever count value we are at, if count is equal to 1, we're going to simply say loop counter or loop count dot loop counter dot set text. And we're going to set the text to be loop on or looped or whatever, loop on. Okay. And then if you click it again, it'll change from loop on to loop off. So that'll let you know if the loop is on or if the loop is off. So let's just click it. It tells us loop is on and now loop is off. So when you start up the program, you guys can set the text to automatically be loop off. So let's play this musical branding. Okay, so once the loop is off, so it should stop playing. There we go. Now let's put the loop on, and it should continually loop until we stop or whatever. So then you can just click the stop button, turn loop off or whatever, and there you go. You guys have a nice little MP3 player. Obviously, if you guys want to add more functionality like playlists and also a slider and volume control, please let me know so I can create another video. This tutorial was a bit long and I do apologize for that, but hopefully you guys did get through the whole thing quite easily and understand what we did here. This is obviously a tutorial that's going to take you, you know, a good part of your weekend, or not really your weekend, but you can watch a bit now, watch a bit later, or whatever. So if you guys like the tutorial, please don't forget to leave us a like, comment, subscribe. We have a new video coming out every Monday and Friday. So on Monday, you guys can work through the tutorial throughout the entire week. And then on Friday, I'm hoping to have one app dev tutorial that you guys can do over the weekend as like a little mini project. So there you guys go. This is our second widget that we've created along with our quick launch widget. And if you guys, you know, have any suggestions, please leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.